Manal manages to save the day in Prime Video's Apocalypse Z, the beginning of the end's ending, but before the movie's end credits start rolling, a grim twist introduces new challenges for the heroic character. Directed by Carles Torrens, Apocalypse Z, the beginning of the end is based on Manuel Loureiro's novel of the same name. The movie walks through a typical zombie apocalypse saga where a man finds himself in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, where he must survive many odds to save himself and the friends he makes along the way. Apocalypse Z, the beginning of the end's main character, Manal, is portrayed as a grieving man who loses his wife in a car accident long before the beginning of the titular world-ending event. Owing to this, when the central zombie infection finally starts spreading, his journey of survival not only helps him break his spell of isolation but also allows him to find peace after his wife's demise. In its final moments, the Amazon Prime Video zombie movie also introduces a massive cliffhanger which perfectly paves the way for a sequel. Why Belen stops Manal from coming to the Canary Islands in Apocalypse Z's ending. The islands are seemingly not as safe as Manal was told. In Apocalypse Z, the beginning of the end's opening arc, Manal learns that all the survivors are gathering at the Arusa estuary and planning to go to the Canary Islands. Although Gabriella initially promises to accompany him to the safe haven, Manal is forced to go alone after she dies. In the movie's ending moments, Manal and his new friends manage to defy all odds to get their hands on a helicopter that can take them to the islands. To Manal's relief, even his phone receives a signal as soon as their chopper rises above the ground, allowing him to receive a call from his sister, Belen. However, to his dismay, Belen warns him to stay away from the Canary Islands as soon as he informs her he is heading there. Although Manal tries to ask her what is happening, Belen panics and only tells him not to visit the location. Her reaction suggests that the location is not safe anymore, and the virus outbreak has somehow reached the islands as well. Before Manal can figure out what is happening, two fighter jets zoom past the chopper, hinting that an airstrike has been planned on all zombie-ridden areas, including the Canary Islands, to contain the virus. The TZ virus and how it started the zombie apocalypse in Apocalypse Z explained. The virus origins remained unknown. Actor Francisco Ortiz as Manal, fighting a zombie, in Apocalypse Z. Apocalypse Z, the beginning of the end never delves into the details of what started the zombie apocalypse. In its initial moments, it walks through how Manal lost his wife in a car accident. Its storyline then jumps ahead in time where Manal struggles to accept his wife's death while a virus outbreak gradually spreads across the globe. The movie's story only suggests that it is set in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the central virus that turns humans into zombies was likely created in a lab and used as a biological weapon to kill many humans. Manal and other survivors avoid getting infected by the virus by ensuring the infected individuals bite them. This suggests the virus is not airborne and can only spread through direct contact with bodily fluids. Characters in typical zombie movies usually end up finding cures or developing ways to contain the outbreak. In Apocalypse Z, the beginning of the end, however, the characters barely survive the outbreak because a cure for the virus has seemingly not been found. When it comes to the visual representation of the infected, the Amazon Prime horror movie's depiction is not too far from the traditional zombie genre. What Ushakov and his men wanted from Manal and other survivors. The Ukrainians cared little about helping other survivors. Actor Francisco Ortiz as Manal in Apocalypse Z's ending. While sailing alone across the sea, Manal runs into a group of Ukrainians who welcome him to his ship. They offer him a room on their boat and, in return, expect him to guide him to places in the city where they can find food and other useful resources. Manal accepts their offer and agrees to help them until he starts noticing something is wrong. After his first day on the ship, he realizes that Ushakov and his crew rescue many lost survivors from the sea, but none can be found on board. He later heads to one of the lower decks of the ship and finds a group of survivors tied up in a holding area. This helps him realize that the Ukrainians do not intend to help other survivors. Their sole purpose is to capture and exploit them for their own benefit. Even before Manal's arrival, Victor knew what Ushakov and his men were trying to do. However, to ensure his own and Manal's survival, he did not tell Manal about their true motives. Fortunately, for him, Manal helps him escape the ship before the Ukrainians can harm them. How much of Manuel Loureiro's Apocalypse Z book series does the Spanish movie adapt? Manuel Loureiro wrote an Apocalypse Z book trilogy. As its title suggests, the movie only adapts the first novel in Manuel Loureiro's Apocalypse Z trilogy. Like the first book in the trilogy, Amazon's Apocalypse, the beginning of the end primarily revolves around the spread of the zombie virus and the fall of humanity. Similar to the book, it also shows how the pandemic gives the main character, Manal, the opportunity to finally overcome the grief of losing his wife in a tragic car accident. However, given that there are 2 more books in the trilogy, there is enough source material content to follow up the Amazon movie with 2 more sequels. How Apocalypse Z's ending sets up a sequel. The movie's ending paves the way for a darker follow-up. Actor Francisco Ortiz's Manal duking it out with a zombie in Apocalypse Z. Apocalypse Z, the beginning of the end's ending suggests that Manal and the crew will have to head to the Canary Islands and save Manal's family before they get infected, or an airstrike kills them. Since the movie only adapts the first book from Manal Loureiro's trilogy, the second movie will likely follow the events of the second novel and unfold how the virus will spread across the globe. Apart from following Manal's rescue mission for his sister, Apocalypse Z, the beginning of the end sequel could also explore the origins of the virus and reveal which nation created the biological weapon.